Okay. So if you didn't join us on Teams, quick refresher. Do you want to switch to tablet mode? No. Okay. Quick refresher on what we did before we left for Thanksgiving break for quadratic functions. So we did talk about transformations, right? A does several things. If it's negative, it can reflect, or it flips it upside down. If it's bigger than 1, it can stretch it. In other words, make it more narrow. If it is between 0 and 1, it compresses, or in other words, makes it wider. Those are the 3 things that A does. H is going to move your function to the right or left. If it's minus H, it's going to move to the right. If it's plus H, it's going to move to the left. K does 2 things to your function. It is either going to move it up or down. If it's plus K, it moves up. If it's minus K, it moves down. You should have more detailed notes on this somewhere. Okay. If you don't, for whatever reason, I would definitely write these things down, since you do have a check for understanding over these skills. Okay. And then how to find vertices and axis of symmetry. There's 2 ways that we can do that. If it's already given to us in vertex form, then we basically can already see what the vertex and axis of symmetry is. If it's in standard form, then we got to do a little bit extra. So, for example, if they give us an equation that's already in vertex form, then all I have to do to identify the vertex is remember that H is that weird one where you have the opposite sign, and then K is the normal one where your sign is going to stay the same. So for this example, if I wanted to find the vertex, okay, H is -4, which means it's going to be the opposite of negative, which is positive. And then K is +5. That's the normal one that stays the same, so it'll stay +5. That means my axis of symmetry is, I can clearly see here that H, your axis of symmetry, is the same value as your x coordinate, so H or x here would be 4. Okay, that's if it's already in vertex form. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If it's in standard form, that's where you have your A, B, and C values that you have to identify. Okay, I still have a lot of people, so for example, let's say that I have, I don't know, 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. Okay, I still have a lot of people when they're trying to identify A, B, and C, they're actually saying that A is 2x squared and B is 4x and C is -1. And that's not correct. That's wrong. No, no. No, no. Okay? A and B are not the entire term. A and B are only the coefficients. So only 2, only 4. Okay, those are your values for A. I have noticed a lot of people still getting confused with that part. Once you've been able to identify what A, B, and C are, then you're just going to use the equation that they've given us to find your axis of symmetry. So if I use the equation, I have negative B is 4 divided by 2 times A is also 2. So that's going to give me an axis of symmetry of -1. Okay, and then my vertex, well, my vertex is really just the x coordinate comma the y coordinate. Well, how do you find the y coordinate? Okay, you plug the x into your equation. Okay, so I'm going to plug -1 into the equation that's given to me. So 2 times -1 squared plus 4 times -1 minus 1. I'm going to do the math there. It's going to give me some number for y that I can then plug in. Okay. Alright, so that's standard form, vertex, and axis of symmetry. Next thing that we talked about, we did talk about finding zeros or solutions of quadratic functions graphically. So you're either going to have 2 zeros because it touches the function, it touches the x-axis twice. Clearly here it touches it at -5 and +3. Or it's going to just touch it once. Okay, or I can see that it touches it 0 times, which is why I have no solution. I feel like that one's pretty straightforward. Alright, the next way you can find zeros or solutions of quadratic functions is by factoring. Okay, so in order for me to actually factor here, I need to make sure I've highlighted it, make sure it's in standard form. That means that all of the terms need to be on the same side of the equal sign. So for example, this guy right here, he's not. Okay, but I can make him be on the same side by just moving him over. Okay, so when I move him over, now it's in standard form, and now I can factor. Okay, two numbers that are going to multiply to get me my last number, -56, but add to get me my middle number, which is +1. So it's either going to be this, but that doesn't work because that gives me -1 when I add. Or it's going to be this. That one gives me the +1 that I need, so yay. That's -7 and +8. Now that's not my answer. This is my factor. Okay, my answer are the zeros. Okay, so my zeros are 7 and -8. Alright, let's look at question 2. Question 2, it's already in standard form. Great, that's less work for me. Now I just have to figure out two numbers that are going to multiply to get me my last term, 30, but add to get me my middle term, -11. It's probably 5 and 6, right? If you're decent with your multiplication skills, then this shouldn't be too bad. I need -11, so I'm going to try them both being negative. That works out. -5, -6. So my answers, those are my factors. My actual answers, or my zeros, are basically just the opposite sign of the factor. Alright, I gotta move all of these over to the other side. When I do that, I have 4x squared minus 12x minus 40. And I can actually take out a greatest common factor. I can factor out a 4 from all of those terms. Okay, it's easier to factor if your a value there is 1. Okay, so that's why you want to try to see if you can take out a greatest common factor. Okay, so now I just need to figure out, because my last term is now -10 and my middle term is now -3. That's probably going to be some combination of 5 and 2. Right? If you don't know which one, try both. That's going to give me -3. That's going to give me +3. I want -3. So my zeros or solutions are +5 and -2. Okay, I'm kind of running out of time here I need to get back to class. Class is about to start. So I'm going to